Hi, this is Maria Quattrone with Be the Solution, and I'm so excited today to welcome my guest, Tracy Cousineau. Tracy, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me today.
I'm excited.
I wanted to be in a business that I did not have a ceiling. Take a pen and a piece of paper, draw a line, draw another line next to it. At 365 days, if you drew 365 lines, you started here with one line, but look how far you've come.
Great to have you today on the show, Tracy. I'm excited. Tracy's in the Metro Atlanta marketplace. And what is going on in your market, Tracy? Is it crazy like it is everywhere else?
It's so crazy. It was funny because I had this aha moment the other day. I was talking to my assistant and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm freaking out. We don't have a lot of active listings. She goes, well, the market. And I'm like, oh yeah, they're all under contract and closing. That's where we want them. So we're just, every week have these actives, and then a day later, 2 days later, they're all back under, they're all under contract. So it's like that aha moment that you're used to having, like this whole list of active listings that you're marketing and marketing and marketing and marketing. And now it's just like, oh, okay, they're just going and going and going. And so it's like, whoa, who are we talking to? Who do we need to direct? Just changing things all the time. It's amazing. I love it. I've been through so many different markets. I've been in a seller's market before, right before the Great Recession. I've been in it way back in 1999. So I've been in buyer sellers markets, been through, 3 different downturns. And so now it's just always being prepared for what's next.
So let's talk a little bit about that, your process right now. So it sounds like you do have a process, how they come to market. They're being marketed for several days, and then in your market, they're going under contract pretty quickly. So what does that look like?
We have a lot of team behind us. Every agent, myself, staff, it's a huge team. And so knowing that the system and the wheels turn where they need to turn and what everybody is good at, that's what their focus is. So, for me, looking at buyer agents have to be prepared to show X amount of houses. They better be prepared to show enough and have ones on the back burner because they're making so many offers. Make sure your offers are going to stick, know all the details, educate the consumer. And a buyer's agent having listings, if you're out showing all these properties, trying to negotiate and get the best for that buyer, how are you also marketing listings and negotiating the 30, 50, 75 offers that are going to come in on one property? One person just can't do it these days. And so just having the team behind you and the support behind you to really play out the full situation so that it is the best client experience. That's what we're here for. We're here for the journey of the client. We're not here for ourselves. That's your passion to be doing what you're doing, and it's your purpose to go through the journey with them. But at the end of the day, it's not about you. Forget the ego. Take it off your signs. Take it off of your marketing and understand who you're talking to.
I had this conversation this morning with the young woman I interviewed. I said, it's about our journey is about the journey of the client and serving other people, whether that's buyers or sellers, investors. I said, without that, we don't have any business.
No, exactly. So if your phone is ringing and you're cringing answering it, you're probably not with the right consumer, or you're not in the right business, and it's really identifying, you succeed on the things in life that you do the best and that you're passionate about, right? So if you wake up every day passionate, but not about real estate, this is probably not the journey. It's probably somebody else's. And then you had a FOMO and decided that, oh, I need to be in real estate. But if you cringe while you're doing it, you probably shouldn't be in real estate. You should probably figure out what your passion is.
Yeah, I think sometimes too people get burnt out. So
totally.
Sometimes you need to take a step back for a second and read.
You didn't read my book because it's all in my book.
Yeah. So let's talk. I'm glad that you brought that up. So let's talk about that. How did that all come together, Tracy? And what inspired you to write the book?
The more people that I meet along my journey, the more stages that I speak on, and have the opportunity to talk to people that have gone through maybe a little bit of the journey that I've been on, or a lot more than a journey that I've been on. Really just listening, and listening is a huge skill that we should all learn. But it's really identifying where people are struggling at. You know, I've taken a lot of risk, spent a lot of money. I've failed a lot to get back up. And so it's running through the journey, but understanding that nothing was ever silver spoon to me. Nothing was ever given to me. I didn't take loans. I was all cash. And if I didn't have the cash, I didn't proceed with it. So, you know, it's identifying that. But how do you stay out of that burnout mode? You know, it's called the $1 Million Trap. It's milliondollartrap.com. There's some free gifts if you go to milliondollartrap.com to help you, you know, begin the journey and really understand it. But it's really pushing through that 6 figures and being at that 7-figure level or more. We all get burnt out. We all like, oh, we made 6 figures. Okay, well, that's not enough. Now we want 7 figures. We get to that 7 figures and you get to that arrival and then you're burnt out. You're stressed. Yeah. You're rehiring, you're firing, you're going through all this stuff. And then you're back down into the 6 figures. How do you stay at the 6 figures and above? And so that's what it's about. So I'm not showing up as, oh, I arrived at this 7 figures. No, it tells you the whole journey on the ins and outs and the risk and the things not to do and the things to do. But we have to remember that we do have to step back, because we have to really look at stuff. You can't say that you're the victim, and it really has to be about your mindset change too. That was a really aha moment for me, is really getting my mind straight, really understanding who your tribe really is. Don't be the average of the person. I want to be the dumbest in the room. So I'm always changing my tribe. I always want to learn. I want to be with people that are going to push me. I don't want to be around people that just want me to be at a level that they're at. I want to be better every single day. I want to wake up having the best life ever, but also contributing and serving others during the journey. And so just really understanding it. Unfortunately, I had to fire myself first before I could fire anybody else. And
so what you fired yourself from?
Fired myself
from what?
Everything. I mean, just as being, you know, I had to understand being a better, you know, supporter, wife, leader. Like, I had to really step back and fire myself, but I really had to understand what my purpose was. I had to quit having that victim mindset through the Great Recession and understand that things happen for a reason, to find the solution and look at the opportunity in them. I would go through losing everything in life all over again just because of what I learned on the outcome when I got my mind straight, right? And so I always look at stuff as there's really a reason why this is happening. It's not happening to me. It's happening for me. And where is that for at? Where is all that golden mist at that I can pull out the situation? And so really defining those moments and understanding those moments and finding that, what can I do differently? How can I support differently? And really just making the changes and the processes along the way. Things change, things evolve, and you got to understand you can't have the same systems and processes. I can't be the same mom that I was yesterday. I need to be a better mom today. I can't be the same leader I was yesterday. I need to be a better leader today, a better neighbor, a better server. Everything, every day you have a better opportunity to be better than the day you were before.
That's the mindset. We get to control the thoughts, right? It's funny because I met with somebody for coffee yesterday, and we were talking about everything that you just said about the wanting to be better, having to like move out of the way in order to do that, and figuring out what our own purpose is. And one of the things that started that conversation was that whole, you know, if it's about the money, you're in the wrong, you're not in the right place. Because I did all that, right? I'm like, oh, you get there, you're like, yeah, 7 figures. Sounds great. Then you go like this. This is what I did. I went,
where'd it go?
Nothing changed. Everything's still the same. So it has to be more about what is your purpose, and, you know, finding what the purpose is and serving others and helping others to be successful, you know, is what I put my purpose to be. And I love how you brought that up today, because it's like, now it's all surrounding me. Everything in the last 24 hours, it's all like, you know, different little conversations about exactly that. and realizing really, really what it's about. And it's about helping others and helping others rise up. And if you can do it, they can do it. Because I said the same thing. I came from nothing. Had, you know, at one point we had to go to the store food stamps. That was fun. You know, you don't forget those things that they make you who you are today, right? You always keep that little thing there, and you know, we can be able to help others to come up and to rise along with us, right? And so, Tracy, we're in a couple different. You're in a lot of a couple coaching programs, but we're in one together, and and another group together. So it's like, you know, I'd love to see the collective genius of all of you, and hear, you know, because one thing is in common: we want to help others. We want to help others, whether that's serving our clients or that is helping our agents to be more successful, to live the life of their dreams. Because if we can help enough people get what they want, eventually it'll flow, you know, flow into us. And I think that's an important part of the journey too, being in flow. You talked a little bit about when you weren't in flow and how you had to fire yourself. And what are some things you did to like get yourself back into where you need to be? Because to me right now, it seems like you're owning it, right? I'm watching you. You're in Vegas for your 50th birthday party. Congratulations, by the way. And then you're going to events and you're taking it all in, and you're going to baseball games because you love, you know, going to those games. How did you, what did you have to do to make those things happen? Or stop doing better?
Yes, right. So the first thing I had to do is to understand what the difference of leading people and micromanaging people are. It's a huge difference. I want to know that the people that are in my tribe at work, I don't have to watch over systems and processes. You know, we make those together, we make changes together, and that it should all run together. And so one of the first things I did was really just understand delegation, really understand getting out of my own way, you know, like what are things that other people can do that my small little mind at the time was like, oh no, I'm the only one that could do this. I don't really, somebody else could do things a lot better than I could in different areas. And that's what I really had to identify and get real with. And so it's just taking that yellow legal size piece of paper and drawing a line down the middle of it. And what are on the left-hand side are all the things that you just don't like to do and that you're not good at. You might think you're good at it. However, there's somebody that could probably do it a lot better. And you have to get real with yourself. And that's where you have to fire yourself from a lot of things you're doing to be on the other side of the paper of all the things that are going to make everything move forward. What is all of that? What do you need to show up doing every single day that's going to help create a better lifestyle for your people with you and your tribe, the community, and for your family? What are those things? And those are the things that you should really focus on. So for me, it's marketing, it's implementation, it's networking, you know, it's the client experience. That's the stuff that I need to be working on. I don't need to be answering phone calls. I don't need to be going to the appointments. My partners can go to the appointments. They're going to serve our clients and our team the same way as if I were. And so I had to get out of the way over here on this side of the paper so that I can focus on this side of the paper. But also what I had to do is, we all feel so much better in a new outfit, all right? Or a new haircut, or new makeup, or new pair of shoes. And that's what I had to understand is I had to have mini celebrations. Don't wait for the big celebrations. Have mini celebrations. So when you have a closing or it's payday, you know that there's 3 ways that you contribute, or 4 ways that you contribute with those checks. And a small amount is go buy yourself something. Focus on, okay, this is what the ROI is on this. I'm going to go buy I'm going to go buy that pair of shoes. I'm going to go buy that new skirt, because when I wear it, I'm going to remember why I got it, how I feel every time I wear it. But it's also going to bring you back if it's a certain closing. I'm going to remember, hey, I sold that house, that client experience, that client. You're going to remember the address. You're going to remember the whole journey of that pair of shoes. it all means something, right? So when I walk in those pair of shoes on a $3 million sale, I'm going to feel like $3 million bucks, right? And I'm going to show up as $3 million bucks. And so it's just having that mindset to understand it wasn't just a pair of shoes. The shoes had a journey. Everything should have a journey and a purpose and a story. You know, I have a few small tattoos here, but they all have a journey and they all have a purpose. They all have meanings, you know.
Tell me about one of them.
Okay, so one is, you know, Brian Moses.
Yes.
Okay, so Brian and I were in Dallas with a bunch of friends back when we were Craig Proctor heads. And we were in Dallas at an event, and we decided we were going to go get a tattoo. So I have a really small tattoo on my ankle. It's in Japanese, and it says happiness. And before we went to the whole Kennedy assassination location. We did the whole Dallas. It was the first time I'd been in Dallas. The yellow pages were still in at the time. It was a long time ago. And we find this tattoo artist in Dallas in a trailer. It ended up being the tattoo artist that's in the movie Borat. So there's a lot of journey behind it. I was with my great friend. I got to see history. I got to meet somebody who was a tattoo artist in the Borat movie. And I have a tattoo that means happiness. I have a lot of memories. I'll never forget it.
It's all about the experience. That's something I noticed about you, for you. It's all about the experience. We were at, where were we? Orlando a few weeks ago. And you were going to meet a friend. And I'm like, she's meeting somebody now? I'm going to bed. But, you know, I thought about it and I'm like, she don't see that friend often. And she's going to go have an experience with her. And I applaud you for that because, you know, the easy thing would be, I didn't have anyone I was going to have an experience with, so I went to bed, but I get that. And it's all about sharing time with other people and their journey. And I could tell, like, all these things that you do are all about the experience. And with your daughter and the cheerleading, and I see all those things, and not a lot of people share that. That they're not on. I don't know how to explain it. A lot of people think it's about only like, hey, let's get that Lambo or whatever, and it's really the experience of doing it. Whether it was a good happen, it was fun. Like, okay, what, the Yankees didn't win, but did you have fun at the game? Right. That doesn't matter. That part of it doesn't matter.
Did I go to Pittsburgh and it got rained out, but I got rained on? It was the experience. We brought an umbrella. We went to the stadium. We looked at the stadium. We took lots of pictures with all the locks on the bridge. We laughed. We giggled. We could have taken a different mindset, but I don't live that mindset. And I'm not going to be negative that, oh my gosh, I just spent this money. I came to Pittsburgh and it's like one of the deadest cities in town. And it stunk. No, we made the best of it and we laughed.
Yes.
And it was fun. I have so many pictures and I have so many memories just from laughing and enjoying it. I mean, we were back in the hotel by 10 or 10:30, but that's okay. We were ready in time for Boston the next day. You know, it was awesome. But, you know, you talk about my children and stuff like that. So a couple years ago, you know, I had to find time management. I had to figure out, you know, like, how can I see my kids more with as busy as I am? And so, you know, I got a Sprinter, a Mercedes Sprinter, and hired a driver, and my kids were able to come with me and spend time with me. You know, we were able to travel together, or if they were at a school or if it was the weekend, we were able to spend time on the way to appointments. While I was in the appointment, they could do their thing, take a nap or whatever, and then I could get back in the van and spend more time with them. It was just understanding what means more to you and how to fit it into your life. So I was explaining to you before we went live that I'm going to Dallas today. Well, guess who's coming with me? My daughter. So while I'm in meetings, she can go with our nanny to Six Flags. If it's raining, they're going to go to the aquarium. But I'm going to see them at dinner time. I'm going to spend time with them. And then we're going to hit in the Rangers game on Saturday and come home on Sunday. So now she gets to live the experience of my huge bucket list, visiting every Major League Baseball stadium in the country. So now it's something that I can bring her into the experience with me.
That's amazing. Have you been to Philadelphia yet?
We have not. That's on the list when we have to do the rain out game.
Yes, you'll have to let me know.
I will. I'd love for you to go. I'm going to bring us back to when you said I went and met my friend out. So I met her on Facebook. She's an agent in Orlando. We had never met face to face. We'd only met online. I knew that there was a journey and a path, and really, and when I brought her to the pool gathering and dinner that night, I wanted her to have the experience to meet other people in her market, meet agents in Orlando, you know, have that networking, because there might be an opportunity for her there. But it was an opportunity to meet someone else in the business, someone else that I can help, someone that I can, you know, have a friendship with for quite some time. And so that's what it was about. It was, wow, she's going to drop what she's doing and meet me at 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night. I'm doing the same thing. You know, there's a reason why we've journeyed into the same path together.
Yeah. You know, I say you never step in the same river twice. It's an old saying, and it's true. And I have I'm a little bit of a stickler with something. So like when we go to dinner, I hate when people have like the phones, you know, out and they're looking on it. I ask people if they would put them away for our time together. And that's probably like a weird ask for most people because they're attached to the phone. But here's what I say. This is like the 2 hours that we'll be together today. We'll never replace it. It never is replaceable. So we'll have those memories or we won't have those memories. And since we're together at dinner and I don't just go to dinner with anybody, then I would like to spend, you know, my time really enjoying our time together and being present and being as present as we can, because all we have is today. And so, you know, all this is like, right, it has nothing to do with real estate, but everything to do with real estate, because it's how we live our life with, you know, in thought, in working through an experience and providing our clients with that experience. It's all how you do one thing is how you do everything, right?
Well, if you can't give the attention at dinner time or at work with someone that you're supposed to be listening and connecting with, how do you give it to your customer and your client? You know, if you can't give it to your family and your friends or new friends, how can you give the best experience to someone else? Are you in front of them doing the same thing? And it's just that awareness that you need to have. It's just like Zoom, you know, do not show up on a Zoom with a black screen or a photo that you've inserted. Show up, have that human connection, show up as who you are. You know, that's huge to me. So, you know, if I'm in a meeting on a Zoom, I, you know, disengage with people that don't have their screen on. You know, I just think that if you couldn't prepare for it, I don't need to have communication in that direction. To me, I think it's disrespectful. If you can't show up for something that you signed up or you agreed to, or it's just something in the process with work and you know, what you do on a daily basis, you show up 100%. And showing up with a black screen or you know, a photo that you've inserted in there is just not really showing up. What are you doing behind the scenes?
I agree. It's I don't know. I think people don't treat it like a real meeting, and that's problematic. But I want to take back for a second. I want to go back because before we started, we talked a little bit about you being in the business since 1999, and you've been through this crazy kind of seller's market. I didn't enter until 04-ish, around 04. And I do remember something in 2002 here in Philadelphia, the market was really insane. And I wanted to go back to that seller's market and what it was like when you were in it, because that's the last time there was this kind of market, right? Around that time in the early 2000s. What did you see happen?
You know, I think it really, it set us up for the wave of 2006. You know, that really wave that supply and demand, inflation. You know, back then the interest rates were still pretty high, really high compared to what they are now. But I mean, when I first got in the business, I mean, they were 8% was great, you know?
Right.
And so I think 06, we were at somewhere around that 6%. And it was really learning from the experience of what I saw during those times really prepares me for where we're at now. And I'm seeing it twofold. You know, back then it was builders giving free cars if they bought this house, you know, unfortunately paying off appraisers to, you know, up the price of the value that they really weren't there. Really, you know, working with mortgage companies to push people through and all this stuff that just really shouldn't have happened in the business. And that's where it took us, right? Where I see kind of where I'm like, ooh, could this be a really big problem? What are we setting ourselves up for? Is the way inflation is happening so quick right now. I mean, I'm selling homes for up to $150,000 more than market value. So when we first started selling these homes for over value, the homes weren't appraising and buyers are bringing the money to closing, right? So now what do we set ourselves up for? Now that those sales have actually hit, what's the sales price? It's the inflated price. It's what the buyer brought to closing. It wasn't the true appraised value of that home. So now we have these inflated prices showing as sales prices because we're selling them higher with these higher bids. And now they're going to appraise for those higher amounts. But is that really the true appraisal of the house? Where does this lead us? Where are we going with this? And so it's really just watching and being prepared.
Yeah. Well, I mean, preparation is the key. Nobody was prepared 16 months ago.
No.
And so here we go again. So the thing is, there will always be something. There will always be not a pandemic, but something like a pandemic that will come through.
Yeah. It's just like marketing. You should always be changing your message to market. It's just like, you know, different systems that you implement, different positions that you hire for. Now it's just a different market. And how do you always prepare for it? Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
So don't put all your eggs in one basket. So where should the eggs go?
I have lots of them.
What are the different baskets?
So let's see. I do a lot of things outside the business as well. So I've got a clothing store, a brick and mortar clothing store. I opened in 2016. And so, you know, that's just fun. I haven't been in the store in a long time. My children run it. That's something that they do. And they enjoy doing it. So that's them. You know, I always wanted to have a retail store. So I'm able to have that retail store, but I'm allowing someone else to run it and manage it. And I really don't even know anything really about what brands are in the store, what they're doing. You know, I just know that it funds itself because of what they do. And that's good it pays their bills. And I love it. I'm looking at 2 different investments right now. So when those come through, I'll let you know. And so it's just taking money out of where I have it in different places and putting it in different investments. You know, I have a call center that we put together years ago. And so it's really just understanding, you know, the call center and different companies that really could venture from that. Do we keep it small? Do you keep it big? I have a coaching program that I do. I help agents across the country grow their businesses, their message to market, you know, changing stuff and rebranding. So I'm all about the message and the rebranding. Your brand is not your logo, and understanding what really your brand is. Your colors aren't your brand. You're your brand, and how you show up is your brand. How your whole company shows up is your brand. You only have your name. So really identifying that. I'm writing lots of books. My second book is almost done. It's called Unsilence Your Voice. I love to speak. I love to network. So, you know, speaking is really where my heart is outside of real estate, and really just getting the message through, you know, in life. And when, especially, you know, growing up, I was always told, you know, to really silence myself, to shut up. That word was unfortunately used a lot. Shut up is not a word that we use in my family. To me, it's a bad word. So I don't think people should show up to shut up. I think they should show up instead of shut up. And I think that everybody has a voice, and learning to use your voice. If you believe it, I was hidden in an introvert life as a dominant person. And it was really painful to not be able to speak, and to always be told that you didn't have a voice. Do not use your voice. Do not talk back. Don't tell anybody this, or don't tell anybody that. And when you really show up and understand that you should use your voice and then silence it, you can connect, and you can build rapport, and you can meet so many people. But so many people need to hear your message. You know, I remember where I came from. Tracy from the trailer, and I'll never forget it, right? I remember the food stamps, you know, the welfare, all of that kind of stuff. It identified the person I am. I found out later in life I was adopted. You know, there's a lot of holes that you can figure out. Are you the victim of it, or is there a really reason why you had to go through that? Were you the strongest one that needed to go through all of this in life to be where you're at today to get your message across? So my new book is Unsilence Your Voice, and I can't wait to get it out, because I think more people need to really, truly be themselves, because you can't if you're hiding behind something that you're not. I want to be the person on the outside so that it's the same on the inside.
That's amazing, Tracy. Really so inspiring. How did you decide that you wanted to tell your story through books? I mean, writing a book is not like the easiest thing to do. Are you physically writing? Are you dictating into the phone? How, if somebody wanted to go ahead and they have an idea, how would you suggest they get started with it?
So so I'm a person of DIY, of other people doing it for me. I want it all laid out where it's just an easier process for me to get to the completion of it. So not DIY, do for you. That's what I'm looking for.
I know what you meant.
Yes. And I wanted to share my stories and share so much. But the other routes that I went down, that I had to sit and write it, give me an outline, and I fill in this outline, it's not going to get done. You know, I'm a huge implementer, but there were other things that need to be implemented before. You know, I've spent a lot of money doing it the wrong way. I finally found a system that worked for me. I was able to, it's just like being on a podcast. It's just like being on an interview. You interview, you talk, you just, if you get me talking, I don't shut up. Remember, we don't use that word. So I just keep talking. You're going to find a lot to write about if I just keep talking. So if you just let me keep talking, there's just like all these topics to talk about. And so really that's what I'm doing. I'm just talking. And so then they can take all of my talking and all my brain dumping and send it to a writer, and they can put it all on pretty paper. That's great.
That's great. Do you feel like by going through that and telling your story again, that it helps you grow through your personal development because you're reliving some of that?
You know, I went through a lot of courses of human communication, human interaction, how to take things out of your life that were painful and make them go away, so you don't remember the pain of it, but you remember the photography of it. And so for me, I have no pain from that stuff, because I've learned to get rid of the pain and use it to find power from it. But also, if I can take this story and I can show up who I am today to show someone that's still going through that pain and still lives that victim pain, to show them that this is where you can go if you do this, this, and this to get it out of your mind and find a different path and journey for it, then you're unstoppable. The universe is a catalog. You can wake up every single day figuring out what you want to do, where you want to go, what you want in life. It is a catalog, If you remember the Sears catalogs and the JCPenney catalog, listen, that's all I had to use for paper dolls because we couldn't afford paper dolls. So if I can take a JCPenney catalog and make paper dolls from them, I'm going to take the universe and I'm going to make it everything I can.
I was yesterday's sales meeting. I talked about the book, everything about what Think and Grow Rich means, and Napoleon Hill and the law of attraction. And it was interesting because a lot of, new people to our company, and nobody's heard of it. And I was really surprised. And I had to think, I'm like, there's a lot of things that, that other people don't know. So sharing that with others and sharing what it means. I said, the only thing we have about 1,000 minutes a day, and we have our thoughts, and we get to choose them, and we get to decide what we want for our life. And if we can vision it in color and in 3D, and what does it look like as it's already done? Yeah. You can have anything that you want to have, Tracy.
Oh, absolutely. So there's 24 hours in a day, right?
Yeah. You get about 1,000 minutes because you have to sleep and stuff like that.
Yeah. What's sleep? That's overrated. So for me, it's like, okay, if you're working, this is the way I look at it, is who told us that a work day is 8 hours? Because my work day is not 8 hours, but in the mindset of others, work day is 8 hours, right? You clock in, you clock out, you put 8 hours in. And then you're supposed to, who told us that we had to require 8 hours of sleep? I don't require 8 hours of sleep. I actually feel worse if I sleep for 8 hours. Okay.
What do you sleep? 6?
It's like 5 to 6. Yep. I actually feel worse. Like I overslept. You see my puffy eyes? I actually got too much sleep. And so my face even feels bad, that's just too much sleep. I'm puffy. I slept too much. So, but what are we doing with these other 8 hours? Even if we went by this whole thing of 8 hours of sleep, 8 hours of work, we still have 8 other hours. What do you do with them? We have so much time that we're wasting in a day. You're talking about all this time management and this and blah, blah, blah. Well, you had an extra 8 hours a day. What did you do with them? And so that's just really understanding, time management with your family, time management, implementing just one more thing a day, maybe just one of those 8 hours, just one of them. If you took one project and said, okay, I'm going to take one of those extra 8 hours and I'm going to implement something, stay off of Facebook, stay off of Netflix, stay off of Twitter, stay off of Bumble or whatever you're doing, and really just define, hey, what can I learn in that 1 hour, whether it's a podcast or it's a book, it's Audible for me. What does that journey look like? If you just took one extra hour a day and put it back into your implementation process, what could you conquer this year? How many days do you have left? And how many hours would that be?
Probably about 200 hours if you had 1 hour a day. You break that up, that's how many weeks? Several weeks.
Yeah.
To accomplish something. So yeah, I'm all about time blocking. I time block everything. So it's hard for me just to have a conversation in the middle of the day about whatever anybody wanted to talk about, because I'm literally blocked every 15 minutes. That's how I run my schedule in order for me to accomplish what I want to. And the time blocking starts at 7:45 to 8 till 7. And those are the hours that I do. So I needed some things, other things to get done. So I said, I think I'm going to start to come in at 7 so that I can get my videos done, because, that was for Saturday, but Saturday's now overrolled into still appointments and meetings and interviews. So that went out the window. But you still have to figure out how to get it done. And I can do the videos at 7 o'clock a.m. What else am I going to do? It's better to do them at 7 a.m. than 7 p.m. because you're fresh and ready to go. But there's always a way to get something done if you really want to get it done. Otherwise, you make an excuse.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm like, maybe I should write my next book should be like the excuse book. Like I've heard every excuse in the book. So why don't we just make the book, you know? And it's just like, just stop, you know, like if you want to grow, stop playing the guessing game, the assumption game, and the excuse game. You know, that's always my favorite when I'm interviewing or I'm talking to a client and they're starting like all these different like assumptions. I call it the assumption game. You know, well, what if this, or what if we got an offer like this, or how many do I have to close to get this? And, you know, just whoever you're talking to, I'm like, whoa, you know what? Here's the deal is we could sit here for hours and come up with different scenarios. But the only scenario that's actually going to pan out is the one that we have control of. And until we have control of it, there is nothing we can do because other people make choices that we don't have control of. So when we put your house on the market, it's going to depend on the offers that come in, on the choices that were made by others on your house. So instead of wasting time to figure out if you got an offer on this or if you got this offer, we didn't get the offers yet. It's time management also. It's understanding but directing it in the right way. Or if an agent interviews and they're talking about, you know, transactions and how many and, you know, what their goals are and all this kind of stuff, how many they can expect, how many appointments, blah, blah. It's all up to you on how you show up. Because if you don't show up, you're not going to get any. But if you show up, you're going to get a lot, you know? And so it just depends on how you show up. I can't sit here and scenario it. I can tell you that I've had X amount of agents in 22 years work with me. And I can tell you that some didn't make it, some middle made it, and some excelled and made it. Everybody is different. We all have choices.
Oh, everybody can we could provide everything, but we can't make the action happen.
Nope.
Right? We all have to take our own action.
Yep.
So if you want to grow your company, Tracy, there's action that you need to take and action that you shouldn't take. And then there's if an agent wants to grow their business, they got to take the action. I don't know how you sell real estate without talking to people.
Right? Right?
Or how you grow a company without talking to people.
No. No.
Somebody's got to talk to somebody.
No. Or, you know, this whole thing about working from home. I'm like, people don't know where you live. If they want to buy something, they can't come knock on your door. You got to get out there. You got to get out there and make the action happen. You're absolutely correct. I'm like, this whole like mindset that you can work from home or, you know, because we run different ads all the time. And it's like, oh, can I do this from home? No, you can't do it from home. Like, what? No, we're not doing nothing from home. Show up.
Absolutely. Just show up, be ready to go, right? Be a team player, be a good human.
Yep. If I never left my house, I wouldn't have a business.
Well, since you're the spokesperson, right?
Yep.
So you got to speak somewhere.
Yep. Every day. Every day.
If that's your position at your company, you better, you know, get out and be out and about.
Yep. Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
I love it. So what's in store, Tracy, before we wrap it up for today? Tell me what's your goals for the rest of the year, things that you were committed to getting done that you'd like to share?
My biggest is, so every year we've done this Christmas wish with the Christian radio station, the Fish that we work with. And every year we look at all the nominations that the radio station gets for, you know, granting Christmas wishes. And so we make it really big. You know, we're, you know, gutting out furniture and clothes or sometimes they have no furniture and we're, you know, we regrow this atmosphere in the house and we bring Christmas in and we pay rent, we pay utilities, we have scholarships to college, we have cars, you know, we make somebody just one step ahead of where they were when we first got there, right? Maybe it was just they needed that, right? And so my goal is to grant a wish, not just at Christmas any longer, and to grant one wish a week. So what's it going to take for me to be able to grant one of these wishes a week? And that's why I show up every day.
Oh, That's amazing. So you've been doing this every Christmas. So is it one family that gets the wish, or?
So last year because of COVID, we did a few. The year before that, we did one big one, but then we went to Chick-fil-A and we granted a few little other small ones. But before that, it was, one single mom or one single dad with, children that really just needed that. I've been there. Listen, I had nothing. I had $156.82 in my checking account, November 2011. Christmas came from the dollar store. My kids would never know it. I lost my car. Hiding your car from the repo man is not fun. Mm-hmm. I lost my house to foreclosure. I was a very successful agent. Lost it all because, well, we all lived the Great Recession. We know what happened. And a lot of my stuff was new construction. So when the builders decided to bankrupt, foreclose, take construction loans and put them in a different investment or hide the money, we still didn't get paid. They got paid. They were fine. And so it was lots of lessons learned. I just knew that I'll never go back there, but I needed to go there. I came out of that a different person than I went in it.
Wow. It's all about learning from our mistakes.
It is.
So I know our journey.
Yep, totally. I know how
learning from our journey.
So if I can just help one person get that extra push once a week and see where their journey takes them, it's just
that's a fantastic goal.
Thank you.
I love to see you achieve that. And I know that you will because you set your mind to it.
Absolutely. In my mind, it's like, oh, I just have to sell 1 to 3 extra houses a week and we can change somebody's life.
And you can do that by showing up every day and being you.
Absolutely.
Tracy, I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for sharing your journey. It was really great. It was great to hear. I learned a lot from you today.
Thank you.
And I know our listeners will as well. So I wish you a fantastic rest of the year. I'll see you next month in Houston. I'll be there.
And we get to experience a game together.
Yes, we do. The Astros. It's exciting. I'm excited. And it'll be fun times. Have a safe flight today, and I will see you soon. Thank you for being on Be the Solution.
Bye.